What's up, guys? Here with you, SC Wonder Kid, episode 160 here with my guy, Bretson. How are you?
Oh, episode 160 with a smile. I am so ready for this week. I am so good. I am back to full health, and we gotta see. I mean, these groups. I'm psyched. I'm amped. I'm ready to go. I can't believe we're less than a week away. And I'll tell you what, Alex. It also, with the Euros coming up, starting Friday with Germany, Scotland, it's sort of wiping away that really bad taste in my mouth that USA Colombia game gave me. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But I don't want to get worked up yet. So we got to start going bold with these Euro groups, man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good, and you said it, Bretson. The people deserve to know our predictions before Euro 24 starts. And obviously, I'd love to talk about the US men's national team at the end of this episode. But yes, comment down below your predictions for every group in Euro 2024. Go bold and like this video for more videos just like this. And yes, let's go with the predictions. So Group A, Euro 2024. Our predictions will be bold. I'm very hopeful with yours, Bretton. But it's not the conversation with Group A is special because of the second place. Any team can finish second in this group. When I talk with Scotland, with Hungary, with Switzerland, and even a Germany could finish second if one of these teams goes really bold. Do you agree with me?
I do, because I think, heading into this, host nations are generally very good. But no host nation has won since 1984. Right? So we need to keep that in our mind. That's 40 years that no host nation has won. But
and they don't have the best team. And Germany doesn't have the best team. France is better.
You're right.
England's better individually. And I'm going to go bold and say Portugal.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I think all across the board, squad-wise, you're absolutely right. And with Germany, I think it's the nascent, the early beginning stages of Wirtz taking the wheel and Musiala taking the wheel, and some of these other guys that are going to be coming up too, Pavlovic and Maximilian Bayer. But they're now kind of melding them together with a old head core that are very good, very solid, but any signs of life are really early stages, right? Because we're not that far gone from the Hansi Flick losing every game in sight type of situation that they were in. And now that they're in, I could see this blowing up in their face in spectacular fashion, but I don't predict that is going to happen. And that's why Germany, for me, is still comfortably number one, even though I caution Group A, it's not the group of death, but I think it is one of the trickiest groups in this whole tournament. For sure.
Completely. Scotland, Switzerland, Hungary are three nations that must be considered dark horses in my point of view. But talking about Germany on my end, Toni Kroos is going to be his last stance. Professionally, these will be his last matches for playing for his nation. Nagelsmann, great job convincing him to come back and guide Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, this new German core with Nagelsmann ball. So, Toni Kroos ended his career at the club level winning the Champions League. It would be absolutely poetic if finishing his career for the national team, he would win the Euro 2024, especially when 10 years ago, he won the World Cup. Yeah. So that's the rest is history type of situation. Yeah. And Jamal Musiala was the best player of Germany in the last World Cup with Hansi Flick. Bad football that I hope I don't see it for Barca. But next to Florian Wirtz, both Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz will be sharing the responsibility towards creating the goal scorer, Füllkrug or Kai Havertz, with Toni Kroos behind him, with a Gundogan behind him, with a Kimmich, with a Robert Handrich, which I consider underrated. This German national team comfortably must get 3 wins in 3 games if Germany is gonna win Euro 2024. That can happen. I won't be surprised with a team that has Ter Stegen, Manuel Neuer, Rudiger, one of the best center backs in the world, Kimmich, that's going to get a move this summer, Thomas Muller, a veteran, Gundogan, as I said, Kai Havertz, and underrated, Jonathan Tah. I like him a lot. And Mats Hummels didn't get called up. Jonathan Tah was the choice. So,
And as you said to me earlier, I would have started Ter Stegen, but obviously Nagelsmann has already come out and said Manuel Neuer is my guy, and I obviously don't blame him. That's a beautiful selection of goalkeepers there for the host nation. But I think one of the most important players for this team, you mentioned up there, you said Nicholas Füllkrug or Kai Havertz. And I really do feel Kai Havertz could have one of those disappear off into the distance type of situations where he does absolutely nothing, or more specifically, more in line with my thinking. I think Kai Havertz is going to be the piece, right, for Germany. I think he sneakily could wind up there in the Golden Boot race. I'm not saying he's a favorite in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that there is definitely a future here that has Germany topping Group A with Kai Havertz with 2 or 3 goals coming out of the group stage.
Could he score more than 4 goals in Euro 2024, Kai Havertz? He could.
Heck yeah.
He could.
Absolutely.
He scored in a final in the Champions League with Chelsea. Who knows if he scores in the Euro 2024 final? I hope that doesn't happen, especially if it's against Portugal.
And I'm with you, but I do need to caution.
One question for the people at home. Is Manuel Neuer or Ter Stegen the best goalkeeper in Group A? Because Kobel, quite an underrated goalkeeper that Switzerland have. What a player that Dortmund have.
Yeah, I mean, Yanni Sommer too.
Exactly.
But I'm there's quite a few, but yeah, no, I would still say that. I can't go back. I just still remember Jan Sommer versus France, right? 4 years ago. And that's the thing. Like, Switzerland for me is the number 2. But Neuer, Ter Stegen, I have to go with Switzerland in this case because they have done it the last 5, I think, major international tournaments that they've been in. They have found their way out of the group stage. And we do need to remember that the Euros are only 24 teams. So there are these 4 third place, like everybody qualifies for the round of 16 type of situation. So it's very forgiving tournament. But ultimately, Switzerland does seem to get it done. And we need to remember the pedigree that, especially the club seasons that these guys are coming off of. You've got Granit Xhaka coming off of a winning year, a unbeaten year with Leverkusen in the league. And then you've got Manuel Akanji, healthy and playing one of his best seasons ever for Manchester City and winning the Prem. And then, Jan Sommer or Kobel, but Jan Sommer obviously won with Inter. And they just seem to get it done. With that said, I think one of the most intriguing narratives and one of the most intriguing stories, you already kind of mentioned it, was Hungary. Yes. Because 4 years ago, it was Szoboszlai scoring one of the most consequential goals for them in a very, very long time to get them into 2020 Euros or 2021 Euros, and then he was injured for the tournament, and they did not win a game. Now, this is different. Hungary is better than that team 4 years ago. Hungary, to be honest, is one of the better kind of dark horses in this whole setup because it's Varga up front. It is, I'm even going to shout out Philadelphia Union, Daniel Gazdag. Kerkez, who is still coming into his own. Orban Gulashi in goal is a very solid goalkeeper for Leipzig. So Switzerland and Hungary, it's like a coin toss for me for second place. But there's obviously, and here's my waffling in full effect, there is a story here that puts one or both of those guys top 2 if Germany does not show up, which I do not think is the case. So anyway, Germany for me, Switzerland second, coin toss, but Hungary gets through in third, and fourth, Scotland, which we can talk about in a second.
So my Group A predictions, I also agree with you. Germany first. Last matches of Toni Kroos. Florian Wirtz is going to go bold with Nagelsmann. Second, I'm going to go for Hungary. They only lost 1 match with the captaincy of Dominic Szoboszlai, and it makes sense that it's the luck of the Irish to beat them. I'll put them second. Third, I'm going to put Switzerland because Switzerland are a team that in European competitions, they always play extremely well. That's why they eliminated France. And fourth, Scott McTominay's going to go bold, but I'm going to go bold picking against him. I'm going to put Scotland fourth because
but here's the thing.
This is a group that I consider of death low-key. Group A.
Yeah, I agree. It's the trickiest group out of the whole bunch, and Scotland in this scenario, they do have nothing, in my opinion, to lose. So they need to go for it. Here's why, Alex. They have never made it out of the group stage in the Euros. Never. Not once.
McGinn.
Not one single solitary
Tierney.
Yep.
Can they make it happen? Can Scott McTominay? That would be historic
Gilmore.
for them. Oh my days! And when you think of it,
it really would be.
It's what a story that it would be. But let us know your predictions for Group A. Do you believe the best player in the Euro 2024 will be a German player? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if it is it a Jamal Musial? Is it a Toni Kroos? Let us know in the comment section. But now, Group B, the real group of death of Euro 2024. The two teams to go through, or three, because more likely than not, this will be a group with a third place going through. Wow, it's gonna be carnage to not just predict, but to actually watch. We're gonna have the privilege to watch the last dance of Luka Modric in the same group as Spain and Italy. Italy with Spalletti ball that doesn't convince a lot of people for now, and Spain that has Lamine, Pedri, the young core. Croatia could finish first. Croatia could finish first. And I saw that firsthand yesterday against Portugal.
Well, Croatia also knows, I mean, ever since Zlatko Dalic has taken over in 2017, Croatia is a team that knows all they got to do is get through.
True.
Get through the group stage. Group stage in the end, I know we're going to do the predictions, but group stage in the end means nothing. Get into that knockout round and then fight. And that's when the quality of your individual players takes over. You still got Luka Modric in there. You've got Gvardiol turning into an absolute beast, as we all expected, and we remember him 4 years ago. Brozovic is still in there. Perisic is still kicking. And they've got some other young guys like Baturina, like Luka Susic coming in behind them. Lovro Majer, exactly. So Zlatko Dalic, in my opinion, I mean, deserves all the international plaudits that we can heap upon him, because since taking over in 2017, he has finished as runner-up in a World Cup. He has finished in third place in this last World Cup in 2022, and the only adventure he has not yet solved in some respects, in terms of per capita, right, per how big Croatia is and the talent that they generate, right? He has not yet figured out Euros. He's only made it to the round of 16, which is, in my opinion, based on a country of its size, that's still pretty dang good, but they want more. And it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they get more. But I don't have Croatia topping the group in this. But I had to bring them up because, really. So I'd imagine you have Spain.
I've got Spain
leading the way here. Okay.
I got Spain. Right. I put Spain in my top 5 best teams in Euro 2024. They're my 5th place in that conversation. With Germany 4th. Try to guess my top 3 people. And Germany and Spain are this team because now I see Pedri scoring a brace in 30 minutes. I see Rodri is there. First goals, and Rodri, the best CDM in the world. Lamine Yamal, one of the best right wingers at the age of 16 I've ever seen in my life. He's got 7 matches, 2 goals, 3 assists for Spain. And I gotta consider this team a special team. It's quite unfortunate that Gavi will not be playing in this tournament, but there will be other players, not at the same capacity to Gavi, but that can change the game. Fabian Ruiz, Fermin Lopez,
Nico.
And Nico Williams, Nico Williams. That I'm gonna say it again. Nico Williams should, must, whatever. He has to go to Barca, okay, people? Nico Williams one side, Lamine Yamal the other. We're going to see it for Spain. We have to see it for Barca because a strong Barca team means a strong Spanish national team. So I'm going to put Spain first. And I still want to give a side note. I do not like Luis de la Fuente a lot. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm going to put Spain first.
I think it's because he shut Pau Cubarsí out, right?
That's a reason. And Porro.
It is a reason.
Porro.
Yeah. And Porro. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. That makes no sense. I am glad to see kind of the rehab project of Cucurella coming back into the fray. But listen, I think Spain does not go insanely far in the Euros. I think they're going to win Group B. But I think Spain does not go insanely far in the Euros because of their defense. Their defense is not Lenormand. I
like Lenormand. I think he's going to Atletico. I think he's going to Atletico.
Right. He is going to Atletico. He had a wonderful, I think, first half of the year for Real Sociedad. I think he had an amazing last season for Real Sociedad, but his back half has not been very good. So maybe I'm just catching him at a bad time because you're right. I like him too. But it'll be him, and I believe Aymeric Laporte will be the other. And I'm just saying, based on other defenses, right? In this, I don't think it's top 5, top 6, top 7, but none of that necessarily matters, Alex. If the guys you mentioned are killing it, and that's Pedri, and that's Lamine Yamal, and that's Nico Williams, and that's Alvaro Morata. Absolutely right. Hell, even Oyarzabal deserves a shout because he's been scoring for fun in the friendlies. But listen, Lamine Yamal is about to add more records to the record book. I mean, this kid is just killing it, and he's going to turn 17 the day before the final, right? And think about this. At 16 years old, it's looking like he is already a locked-in starter for Spain. And he's already the youngest ever La Liga player. He's already the youngest ever UCL starter. He's already the youngest La Liga scorer. He's already the youngest ever Spanish player and scorer. And he's going to be the youngest ever to play for Spain in the Euros and likely to score as well. Lamine Yamal the other day registered 2 assists against Northern Ireland. And you know me, I have this issue with kind of child abuse at 16 years old. But at the same time, you cannot fight how special of a talent Lamine Yamal is. So that in and of itself, he's going to love Group B. Group of Death, I don't think phases Lamine Yamal. So that's why I think they'll get through Group B. And if they don't make it far in the tournament, it's because of their defense, certainly not because of their offense.
I don't know if I agree totally with you with the defense notes. Because I do think Spain, they can have a good defense. I think it's more than the back four is the CDM. They don't have that ball retention like they would have in the past. And not CDM with Rodri. It's the double pivots. It's the working phase. It's the ball retention. I think Spain loses the ball more than they lost beforehand, and a lot more situations and opportunities are coming now in situations of one-on-one. So Alejandro Balde is very young. Lenormand maybe doesn't have this international experience that we see in other teams. And the goalkeeper, Raya, Unai Simon, they're young goalkeepers in the international sense. And opposite to, let's say, in Argentina with Emi Martinez. And last notes on Spain. The Spanish national team looks at the Euros. I'm going to say 5th in the contention. But for the World Cup, with the development for 2026 these players can have, and with the learning experience that they can have too in Euro 2024, Lamine, Fermin, Pedri, they can go to the next level. And that's why I get so sad not to see Pau Cubarsí, and because of injury, Gavi, because Pablo Gavi would be top 3 players in the Spain national team right now. So Breton, who's going through? What are our predictions?
I got Spain winning the group. I have Croatia in second. I have Italy in third, close third, and I think they'll still get through, which is very dangerous for anyone that has to play them in the next round. And the debutantes, before we talk about Italy, Spalletti, and all that good stuff, the debutantes, their first tournament. Silvinho, the former, Arsenal left back, if I'm not mistaken, right? He will become the first Brazilian to coach in the Euros since a certain somebody
Scolari.
coached Portugal way back in the day. You're right. Yes,
Great coach.
That's not even a trivia question for you, Alex. So
My favorite coach
yes,
watching for Portugal.
Oh yeah.
How he brought united the country. I was a kid back in the day.
Oh my gosh.
But
wow,
yeah,
2008. Yeah, you were. Yeah.
true.
But listen, I love to see new blood. I love to see it, and they've got nothing to lose. And this is well, what an experience to be thrown into this type of a group. But Aslani is somebody that's pretty interesting to me. Didn't really get a fair share of games for Inter, but they see his talent. He'll likely get more next season. But beyond that, Alex, it's more so Italy. What can Spalletti do with this Italian team? And you look at this roster, and it's fair critique. I mean, people look at this roster and they go, "Huh?" Right? There's Nico Barella, right? We know he likely could wind up being in the best 11.
Goals. There's lack of goals in this Italian squad. Scamacca,
100%.
Chiesa. I don't feel that goal scorer. Even in Euro 2021, I felt there was lethal counterattacks, lethal finishing. I don't get that feeling with Italy now.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that's kind of what I'm looking at here. And also their defense, which has some phenomenal names, that is going to be once again the key.
Yeah,
it won it for him 4 years ago or 3 years ago. It will likely be the key to any success. Although Spalletti doesn't exactly. Yeah, and that I think a lot of my disdain right now for the Italian roster, Spalletti in general, it's more displaced disdain for Gasparini putting Giorgio Scalvini in that meaningless game. Yes, I know it was for third place against Roma, the last game of the season. He did not need to play it. Played him, tore his ACL, and one of my favorite young players in this whole flipping tournament is now out through that.
But
and you're taking not one but two wonderful defensive candidates in this Group B, in Pau Cubarsí not making the trip, and in Giorgio Scalvini missing to injury, and that's heartbreaking to me.
True. Two players that it would be really good to see in Euro 2024. I agree with you, Breton. My Group B predictions are: first place, Spain, with Pedri leading this team and Morata scoring the goals. I put second, last dance of Luka Modric, Croatia, or my pick, with Gvardiol scoring a goal or two. Third, Italy. And fourth, Albania. That Albania will be a tough matchup for Spain, Croatia, and Italy. I don't see any team dismantling this Silvino team that was the best in terms of attack and defense in qualification in their group. Okay, Albania, come for the smoke. Okay, this is gonna be good.
Absolutely.
But now, Group C, is it gonna come home, Breton? Because we got England, Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia. Underrated national team that I'm sure we're gonna be talking about. Benjamin Sesko, that is an underrated player that we gotta be aware in this tournament. How are we feeling, Breton, with England?
Well, I got to say the talent in Group C when it comes to the striker position is fearsome.
True.
Whether or not they can all put it together for their national teams, that's a different story. Because if you look at Vlahovic and Mitrovic on paper, and you're like, oh my gosh, this should be one of the best striker duos in the whole competition. And then you look at what, Vlahovic has done for the team, and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's just a whole lot better for Juve. But England has Harry Kane. Denmark has Højlund. Slovenia has Sesko. So I can't look past England on this. I know everybody is up in arms. Iceland beating them for the first time at Wembley. Gareth Southgate, once again, the mythical stealing that has been kind of hit on it. I feel that exact same thing, except maybe not to the extent that that Twitter is perceived. I don't know why I just said Twitter like that. That was weird. But why they're perceiving it like that. But the sky is falling in England, and I sort of can understand why, because that Iceland game was not pretty. But to vilify anyone like a Kabi Mainu in that game, to vilify anyone like an Anthony Gordon, these are the games that you need. You get out of your system And let me tell you, 1-0 or 2-1, whatever it was, Iceland over England,
2-1.
right? That was no 5-1 drubbing at the hands of Colombia, okay? And I think this will make England a better team. But I also don't think England has the defense. I'm saying it right now. I don't think England has the defense to win this tournament.
You would have called up Jared Barfoot.
I would have, yeah. I mean, I don't know why all these young guys are getting snubbed. They would have all broken out. Branthwaite would have been the perfect type of chip on your shoulder player in this than, say, a Lewis Dunk. Although you still have him, or even a Mark Gahey.
I'd pick him ahead of
even a Gahey.
I agree. And ahead of Mark Gahey, too. So, yes, starting with England. Look, Harry Kane is the European Harry Kane is the European Golden Boot. Minimal expectations that we have for Harry Kane in this tournament is for him to be a top 3 player in Euro 2024, consequently to be the Golden Boot of this competition. England have the best player in the Premier League awarded, Phil Foden, the best player in La Liga, Jude Bellingham, and one of the best players in the Bundesliga. Not the best because Florian Wirtz exists. So Harry Kane, win this trophy. Prove that in a trophyless season, you are a world-class player with trophies, and England must finish first in Group C. Must be the case with Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and if not, Southgate should not remain England manager. We all see that the best Phil Foden will not be with Gareth Southgate, so he has to show other capacities, other things. Other things is winning Euro 2024, even though he doesn't take the best out of a Bellingham and a Foden and a Cole Palmer. And side notes, James Maddison, you're hating on not being called up. Look at the number 10 position of England. Cole, Foden, or Bellingham can play at number 10. Considering how James Maddison played in the second half of the season, it's a disgrace. Disgrace that a Southgate cannot explain in a reasonable way, or he isn't happy of not being called up. Realistic expectations. Jadon Sancho deserves more to be in this national team and Braithwaite than James Maddison. Ridiculous comments that I saw in social media that he was discontent. Come on, discontent is one thing, but disagreeing with facts? Yeah, facts. If you disagree with me, just put down below in the comment section, okay? I'll talk. But you agree,
he'd have so much more he'd have so much more ammunition if he had obviously a healthy year. There's no doubt there was a period of time with his form in the Premier League that James Maddison would have been kind of a shoe-in into this type of scenario, especially with his ability on set pieces as well. But yeah, you're right. And the depth here, but here, like for me, the issue with the depth in the English attack, and this is kind of like picking whatever. This is not really much of a critique because they have one of the best collection of firepower altogether. But that's what it feels like at times, Alex. It feels like just a collection. It's like we've got a bunch of these guys. But now Gareth Southgate, of all people, has to figure out how to shoehorn them in and make them all work. But when you have Harry Kane, who is definitely going to be part of the Golden Boot conversation, right? When you have Phil Foden, who's a serial winner with Manchester City, but has not yet turned it full bore yet for England. But you also have Bukayo Saka. I mean, you've got a phenomenal starting point. It just kind of comes down to, can Gareth Southgate get that collection to be like, of synergy? And can they all be working together collectively to be the most dangerous team on the attack in the Euros?
Completely.
And that remains to be seen.
Completely. And yes, you mentioned Saka. I want to mention in complete how I think England should play. And obviously Phil Foden. For me, Phil Foden is the most talented player in this English team. I know Jude Bellingham's there. I know Saka, also tremendous world-class talents. But Phil Foden, no joke, is one of the most talented players that I've ever seen for England. What he does technically is not normal to see coming out of England. And he's a part of one of the best English teams ever with Man City. He's won 6 Premier League titles at the age of 23. Southgate must be taking the best out of Phil Foden if he's going to win European competitions. So Phil Foden, it's going to be Harry Kane up forward with Phil Foden at the left, with Jude,
Yeah.
with on the right Saka. So we got the certainty that Jude will be or the 8 or the 10, and we got the certainty that Phil Foden will be at the left wing. So which I don't see Anthony Gordon starting, in my point of view. So
and I don't think he should. I think he'd be phenomenal for them as a late game, chase the score, get that goal, attack. Offense as the best defense type of situation for them. And it's a casual reminder that, Anthony Gordon, these guys are actually still pretty damn young. Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, like they have all the pedigree. The pedigree, and Bukayo Saka obviously has seen heartbreak, but he's also seen incredible success with England, but still 22 years old.
Yep.
And then you also have behind that Cole Palmer in a new environment. You're going to also a casual reminder that Adam Wharton and Kabi Mainu are still developing players with ridiculously high ceilings, but they are not, the next coming of Rodri just yet, right? So give it time.
That'd be
give
Rice.
It time. Or Rice.
Declan Rice will play at the 6th role for England. And the big question is, will it be Conor Gallagher? Will it be Kobe Maino? Or will it be Adam Wharton next to him? Conor Gallagher, the most experienced. But I would go with Kobe Maino.
With Wharton.
With what he's done, I'd go Maino. You'd go Wharton. Interesting. Let us know in the comment section your choice. And Bellingham at 10.
Yeah.
Like any of them.
I mean,
we can have an argument of them playing. Any of the three.
We could. I think Southgate will go Gallagher, and I actually don't disagree with him early on. First game against Serbia, Gallagher will outrun that Serbian midfield. But that's really what it comes down to.
That I don't know, because Milinkovic-Savic, that will be a tricky player for England to stop. Underrated player in my point of view. It's because he went from Lazio to Saudi.
Yeah, but I am not falling for the Serbian trap this time around. And because I'm not falling for the Serbian trap this time around, where I look at their roster and I say, holy crap, these guys could even be dark horses. Oh my gosh, they've got, some phenomenal players. Obviously, the ability to piece it all together. And then you look at their track record together and you're like, why can't they put this together? And I'm not going to fall for that trap this time, which is why I am going to place them in 3rd. I'm going to place them as a heartbreaking not getting out of their group. And because I did that, Alex, I can virtually guarantee to anyone listening to this that Serbia will finish 2nd and they will get out of the group. Okay? So there you go. Because I've just cursed them, Serbia will get out of the group. Done.
So your predictions for this group is England first with Serbia.
Denmark.
Oh, okay.
Second.
My predictions are England first for group. My predictions for Group C: England first. Harry Kane has to be the golden boot. Come on in this group for sure. Second, Denmark. Martin Huilman will be a starter in this Danish team. Underrated player that you guys must be aware. Serbia third. I think they can be one of the third places going through, and Slovenia fourth. But will be very tricky to stop Benjamin Sesko. These teams will have to outscore Benjamin Sesko if he scores a brace. And I think Denmark can make that happen with this resilient, experienced squad. With Schmeichel, with Christensen, with Eriksen, with Højbjerg, Kjaer, So lots of good names.
And let's, not to bring up the bad stuff, but let's remember who will be taking the field again for them. We do remember 3 years ago what happened. With Christian Eriksen, and oh my gosh, that was one of the most heart-stopping, literally, obviously. Watching it was just brutal. Can only imagine living through it. But this Denmark team obviously did not have a great group stage, and they fought their way through. I still think that type of resolve and resiliency exists in them, and you can see it in a lot of these players. And I think they're going to have a good tournament. Do I think they're going to go as far as they did the last time? I don't know. But as we said, these group stages are very forgiving. And if Denmark gets through, they're going to be an incredibly tough next contender or next whatever. So I think quarterfinals potentially for Denmark when it comes down to it. But you mentioned it. The newest name, Morten Hjulmand, is going to be interesting.
It's
Yep,
true.
sorry.
Martin Huelman that won the Portuguese league. He up his value just like Victor Gyökeres. And Kovacevic now, that's come from Raco to now Sporting. That's another player that we will mention more in future videos with transfers. Very good move. Let us know, do you agree or disagree with our Group C predictions in the comment section. Group D. Well, it seems obvious that Netherlands and France are going to go through, but maybe it won't be that easy, okay? And I don't think it will. I don't think it will, people. So let us know in the comment section. Do you think Netherlands and France are going to go through? Or will I convince you otherwise while this video goes through? Because Austria and Poland, last dance of Robert Lewandowski, they could surprise people. Could surprise people.
Austria in particular, playing a frenetic kind of fight for everything type of football that has really been, it's perfect for a team like Austria. So Ralf Rangnick turned down Bayern Munich for this. He's got to make this count. They have, nobody that absolutely screams star, which is exactly what he wants. True. And I'm telling you right now, I know he did not necessarily turn out for Leipzig this season, but Christoph Baumgartner by the end of this tournament will definitely raise his profile a whole lot more. I think Austria is shooting for quarterfinals or bust, and it's a reminder that if there's a reminder out there that if they do anything in this, because they are a great pick for dark horse with how good they were through qualifying. If they do anything, they're going to be doing it without David Alaba.
True.
Right?
Alaba.
And the experience.
Well said. Alaba is not in this Austrian national team. And yes, in the European qualifications, Austria only lost once to Belgium. That was a tough matchup against the Belgium national team, really well coached with that we're going to mention in future, okay, with Lukaku, Tedesco. But the Austrian national team is the perfect job for Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick was the sporting director of Red Bull Leipzig, of Red Bull Salzburg. He knows the development of Red Bull players better than anyone. And in this Austrian national team, we clearly see the fingerprints of players like that. Baumgartner, Seifeld, Baidu, where is he playing? Baidu, all these players have a Red Bull link up. So we have to be aware of the system, the pragmatic football that Ralf Rangnick knows how to play with the right players. And Austria is that team. I will put them third. Just for the starters, because the people are listening to the video, and I hinted big time on them. I'll put them third.
but right, there is a way forward with this, because the Netherlands, I love this. I think Netherlands is making progress, but I also look collectively as a team, like Austria just seems a really good collective squad. Like that, this defense. Gernot Troner for Feyenoord, kind of a sleeper talent for one of the better. He's an old guy, but like one of the better defenders in the entire Eredivisie. Kevin Danso, maybe not last season, but the year prior to that at Lens was one of the best defenders in Lyon. You've got the crazy man up top, Marko Arnautovic. We'll see how much of an impact he has. But really, they got Marcel Sabitzer, right? And he was key for Dortmund. In their run to the UCL final. So you counter that to the Netherlands, and you've got Ronald Koeman, who some people look at him kind of as the Southgate type of issue, like they're not going to be the best anymore under Ronald Koeman. But then again, it was Ronald Koeman who, in 1988, I believe it was, won the dang thing with the Dutch, and he wants to become Didier Deschamps and be the one that would be only the second player and then subsequent coach, to win both a title as a player and a coach. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how this team is going to look on the field, right? I mean, you have phenomenal players coming off of phenomenal campaigns. Koop Miners, Frankie de Jong, maybe less so, but Dumfries winning in Italy. Bergwijn was ridiculous for Ajax this season. Probably the only thing that was good for Ajax this particular season. Memphis Depay, he's going to do well, right? But he didn't have a great season. Xavi Simons,
Jeremy Frimpong.
Team, it's a dark horse. It's weird to call him a dark horse, but it feels very
the
dark
history.
horsey. Mickey van de Ven.
With the
and
history
exactly.
that
So,
the Netherlands have, but I get you. There's not a Robbie van Persie in this team. There's no Ruud van Nistelrooy. There's no Van der Sar. Frankie de Jong, you don't get the feeling that he's the superstar when he plays for the Netherlands. And we see Memphis Depay trying to be the main player, which he is in terms of goal scoring ability. He's been the best in the last 10 years, okay? After Van Persie, this era. So, in Group D, I go France first. France mandatory have to win 3-3 with the level of these teams, but pay attention to Ralf Rangnick ball with Austria. I'll put second the Netherlands, but it's going to be very, very close with this third place with Austria. And fourth, Poland in the last dance of Robert Lewandowski. It saddens me that will be the case, but I don't think this Polish national team is at the same level as these other three teams. Mbappe, look, Mbappe cannot go to the Real Madrid locker room empty-handed. He must go with a trophy. He's won in the past, but I mean recent trophies, okay? And Kylian Mbappe next season will be the number 9 of Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. the number 7, and Jude Bellingham the number 5, and Rodrigo 11. It's gonna be just beautiful. Valverde 8. Luka Modric, the veteran, with the 10. That Mbappe will then pass over to Mbappe. Oh my days, it's gonna be ridiculous.
And like this is just it's a tournament of moments, right? France will get through their group. We're pretty certain on that. But it's whether or not William Saliba probably won't play that much, right?
True.
Because he's not in Deschamps. It's what is it? It's Konate.
Konate, Pavard plays a lot with Deschamps.
Yeah. Yeah, so it could be moments like that where Upamecano decides to have one of his bad games that we've seen not time and time again, but every once in a while for, say, like a Bayern. But at the same time, I just don't see it happening. I mean, squad for squad, if you're looking at the 25, 26-man squad that's here, France has a team that should win the dang thing. And it's a wonderful blend of youth along with really, obviously, Euro stars, World Cup stars, World International stars. Antoine Griezmann, Giroud, the last dance of Giroud, Kylian Mbappe at 25, captaining them. It's unbelievable. So to not see them in the final would obviously be insane. But then again, guys, 4 years ago, all you need is a goalkeeper to stand on their head. All you need is a disciplined, insane. Well, I wouldn't say disciplined. That game was a goal fest. But France versus Switzerland, my oh my, was that a trip.
True.
And crazy stuff happens in these tournaments. But yeah, France should be there.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. 100%. France are the favorites to win Euro 2024, in my opinion, ahead of England. They got the best player individually, Kylian Mbappe, captain at 25. Man is going to Real Madrid. Man has to go with trophies, okay? And the Real Madrid players playing for France too. It's interesting to see Ferland Mendy, Ariel Chouameni, Camavinga, and now Kylian Mbappe. Who knows if Lenny Yoro will be next? And Lenny Yoro, tremendous talent that you guys must know about. Future top center back in the world of football. Future, some may say present right now. So, yes, you go with Netherlands, France going through, right, Breton?
I do. I agree with you also that if Netherlands going through, I think it'll be on goal differential. It'll be, but I think Austria gets through in third place, even in a very tough group. So yeah, no crazy
Let us
predictions
know
here,
if you
Austria
agree,
second.
and if you agree with the comments saying that France are the favorites to win the competition. Actually, before we end the video, people, I want to know your reaction to this comment. Kylian Mbappe himself said Euros are more difficult than the World Cup to win. The Euros are more difficult than the World Cup. Kylian Mbappe said this, Breton. What are your thoughts?
Interesting. I mean, he would know very clearly. It's kind of. I mean, it's
I
kind of the
disagree.
thing individually, but it's kind of the thing individually. I understand why he would say it, right? Individually, he has not yet overrun, right?
True.
A Euro the same way that he has done a World Cup. I mean, this is a guy that scored a hat trick in a final, still lost, but probably still feels like he did all he could in that particular match. This is a guy that, as we just mentioned, was kicked out by Jan Sommer and Switzerland in their last tournament 3 years ago, and previous to that, he was a tyke. Mm-hmm. So I kind of agree with him in the sense that you've got every match with 24 teams, right, in it. Every match is a consolidated concentration of talent, and a bunch of sides that do know each other incredibly well. So I kind of agree with him in that concentration. Like, you can't let your guard down in even the slightest moment. And you compare that to the World Cup, where you have a lot more unknowns. Like, scouting becomes a massive, not upgrade, but
then you have
really
Morocco,
big part of getting out of your
Nigeria,
group. Right.
South Korea. Even Ecuador, I believe, in 2026 will be a very tricky team. Let us know. Do you agree with the statement of Kylian Mbappe, or you don't? And let us know your Group D predictions. Now, Group E, it's going to be an interesting one. People may say that is one of the weakest groups, if not the weakest group in Euro 2024, but I believe there's a ton of talent that we must speak upon. The Pichichi of La Liga is in this group. Do you agree with me, Breton?
I do agree with you. But I think Belgium should get through with this. But
3-3.
Artem Dovbyk, Sutikov, Saigankov,
Mudryk.
You've got Zabarny. You've got two of the better younger goalkeepers in the whole tournament. Mudryk, I think, is due to have himself a heck of a tournament. And there's others in there that play within the Ukrainian Premier League. But at the same time, Romania has come through with a very stout defense. I think they were the third best defense, if I'm not mistaken, like 0.5 goals conceded per game throughout the qualifying campaign. You've got young Spurs defender Radu Dragusin, who will be a big part of that. And I don't think they lost in qualifying. Alex, I think they drew a lot of games, but I don't think they lost as well. And because of this group, because of how close I feel Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia are, they very well could sneak through. Although for me, I've got Belgium and I've got Ukraine at the tippy top, and Romania's third, Slovakia fourth in Group E.
My Group E predictions go with Belgium first, Ukraine second, Romania third, and Slovakia fourth. Lukaku, that's going to be my big highlight for Group E. Is Lukaku has a chance of being the best player in Euro 2024. Bold prediction. It's not my prediction, just a bold one, because he's the sixth in the all-time goal scoring list. First is Cristiano, but Lukaku is sixth with 85 goals and 17 assists for the Belgium national team. I'm sure he wants to leave in style, and Tedesco plays in a style of play that Lukaku likes, with Johan Bakayoko, De Bruyne, Doku, Trossard all supplying him the goals. So Belgium first must be the case.
Yeah, this should not be Lukaku World Cup 2022 style. No. In terms of big chances missed at every turn. For me, it's the handoff, right? You do have a lot of older heads in this, ones that are maybe less functional than they used to be. I'm not talking about Kevin De Bruyne, and I'm not talking about Romelu Lukaku. I think they're going to be at their peak with this. I'm talking about, Courtois not there, handing it off to still a kind of an aging goalkeeper in Con Castells. You've got a new look defense that is, while Yanni Vertonghen is there, I don't know if he'll be starting. But this is not, Zeno de Bast. You've got Woutface, you've got Arthur Thitt, and you've got Axel Witsel there, who I think who can still play a role. But these are kind of like the vestigial leftovers of that golden generation of Belgium. And it's just, how far does this Belgium defense take you. But the offense, man, for me, one of the best offenses up there, right? It's got to be De Bruyne, Lukaku with Bakayoko, Doku, Trossard. It's one that should be incredibly potent. It's just it'll definitely get them out of the group. I think they'll win the group. But beyond that, I just don't see them getting past the quarterfinals with that defense.
Let us know. Do you agree or disagree with our statements about Group E? And if you agree that Belgium will be topping the group with ease with 3 wins in 3 games. Now, Group F predictions. Portugal. It hits home. I'm trying to say that. Oh my days, man.
Got it.
Group F predictions. Portugal. It's gonna be easy to predict on my end personally, okay, with the first place. If you're listening to this video, no bias, straight facts. Portugal must be perceived as one of the main contenders to win Euro 2024 with the talent that we have individually. Look, it's not losing to Croatia that puts me worried, okay? I believe that the best team will be starting with Cristiano Ronaldo and playing in Euro 2024. That if you doubt Cristiano Ronaldo, I'll talk more in this video. But Portugal, first place. Do you agree, Breton?
Yeah, I do. I do agree. I think much like their qualifying group, they've been given not an easy group, but obviously one of the easier groups in this whole bunch. And my only worry for you is not Group F. It's after Group F. It's like taking these guys seriously enough that when you get into that round of 16, what's the word I'm looking for? That razor sharpness is there, right? That there's not that letdown. That like Bernardo Silva is firing on all cylinders. That Bruno Fernandes is firing on all cylinders. And even Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously, firing on all cylinders for you because it doesn't matter. Group F, they'll get out. It doesn't matter, right? It is that round of 16 that it's going. And it likely will be what? Like Ukraine, I believe, or Romania or Slovakia that you play in the next round. So it's really interesting for me. And that midfield, getting that midfield chemistry right for in that group stage. Exactly. I still think they're all kind of feeling each other out. At least in what I saw against who was the opponent you guys just played? Croatia,
yeah.
Right?
It wasn't it was one of the worst first halves I saw with Roberto Martinez. No, it was the worst.
Yeah.
I see every Portugal game. The game against Croatia was the worst first half with Roberto Martinez. Must be the case. But Breton. Good. Yes. You were going to ask me something. You're going to go bold?
Well, I was going to ask you something because, England, Iceland, right, really threw a lot of English fans for a loop. Like, it's still ongoing. It is not. It is relentless on there. Mainly because I don't speak the language. I have not necessarily seen that same type of thing with Croatia. You feel like you learn something from that. Better to get it out of the way than to have that type of a game in the Euros. So I'm asking you: is that like alarm level red hot? Or are you feeling more confident now knowing, what Roberto Martinez and what the squad needs to do to be razor sharp?
With a weather map, it's like yellow, light yellow. It's not something that I'm very worried, but it's not 100% green. So it's like, I'm kind of like, look, we had a phenomenal qualification with Roberto Martinez. I believe Roberto Martinez can play to Cristiano Ronaldo's strengths, can play to the team's strengths. It's difficult. It's difficult for me to say that we're going to win when we see the match against Croatia. But do I believe that Portugal have what it takes to win Euro 2024? I certainly do. We had a less talented team in Euro 2016, and we won it.
For sure.
This time, with Roberto Martinez, I believe we can do so. But Rafael Leão must start at left wing, behind Nuno Mendes at left back. And then the midfield has to have a player like Vitinha in that team, okay? Has to have. And I see a lot in the media. I think it was on ESPN. Commentator, former player, French. I should know the name. But there was a commentator on ESPN that he says the best Portugal or Portugal cannot win Euro 2024 with Cristiano Ronaldo being the best player. That for me is nonsense. Nonsense. Cristiano Ronaldo can be the top goal scorer of Euro 2024. Can be, because with Roberto Martinez in 10 games, he's got 10 goals, 2 assists. We've got the best collection of talent we've ever had. This man is the man with most goals ever in international history, and he's the best player ever of Real Madrid. And people still doubt him. People still doubt him. So and we all know when he's against the wall, Cristiano Ronaldo, he pulls through. Now with Al Nassr, it's a weaker league, but now eyeballs are seeing the league now. Ligue 1 is having trouble to sell those rights. Saudi League is not having the trouble right now. More talent will go there. The league will improve. And Cristiano Ronaldo is the big reason towards that happening. So if Portugal win Euro 2024, is for sure with Cristiano Ronaldo being one of the main reasons towards that happening, and a Rafael Leão and un Mensch at the left, because that left side, next to obviously Mbappe left side of France, Portugal has the best left side of Euro 2024, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack there. Was it Franck Leboeuf? Was it him?
Yeah, it was Leboeuf. Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Nonsense.
But I get that is nonsense, but I do understand the sentiment in some respects, because I feel like I've said it in definitely not eloquently. I don't know how to necessarily say it eloquently, because I never like to say a bad thing about Ronaldo, but I feel like for Portugal, it's better, right, if they win the damn thing without him being the main star, right? Because I feel like Portugal needs to move on, and Portugal needs to build that collective. And I still haven't seen Bernardo Silva play a rock-solid game for Portugal where he takes, I want to see it be this kind of interchangeable parts type of situation. I don't know if that's the way it ever will work.
Why Ronaldo
with
the
Portugal,
problem?
but
With Bernardo
if you
Silva
look
not
at
playing well.
But if you look at the way that Portugal won in 2016, Ronaldo sort of propelled them there, right? I guess, sort of. But obviously, it was somebody else. It was the defense, and it was Eder. But when it comes down to the future of Portugal, I think a lot of it, for me, it's easy for me to say they need to move on from Ronaldo, because I'm not Portuguese, and I didn't grow up a Portuguese supporter. And I know that's a lot harder to do, right? So if they do it with him or without him, I don't know. But
But you don't, but Breton, honestly asking, for Euro 2024, you don't put Ronaldo in the top 5 finishers of the competition?
Top 5 finishers in the competition.
I put him. I put him next to Lukaku. And look, if Harry Kane scores more goals than Cristiano Ronaldo, kudos to him. It's an achievement for me, for Harry Kane to do that. I'm a skeptical, and I think Cristiano Ronaldo will be a top 5 finisher. Do you agree?
Well, in the top 5 in the Golden Boot race, I mean, with Group F, he dang well should be.
But is he a top 5 finisher?
With him having the confidence
in Euro 2024, considering the amount of talent?
Yeah, I think in our Golden Boot video, I had him in the top 3 or 4th or something like that. I think he's going to do a lot of damage in Group F. That's for sure. It's really knockout rounds. That's where it's going to get interesting.
So why wouldn't we call
I don't think the tournament starts for you.
Ronaldo, or why wouldn't we start Ronaldo if you consider Ronaldo a top 5 finisher in Euro 2024?
Yeah, it's not that I'm not saying you shouldn't start him. You guys have made that abundantly clear that that's like the way forward. I would have stuck with Gonzalo Ramos after World Cup. I would have played him. I think he'd be in a better place club-wise. He'd be in a better place national team-wise if that was the case. But
disagree.
Very, very clearly, that's not how things have panned out. And also, that's water under the bridge. Because you're right. As of right now, Cristiano Ronaldo is your most informed striker. You can say that that's a great thing, and I do understand people that say that that's likely going to be a weakness when all is said and done. Now, we're going to find out which one is true, but I'm just saying I understand that the argument on the other side of the coin is that you don't want him to be your most functional at his age, your most fearsome striker right now when you face in the round of 16 or in the quarterfinals or in the semifinals, right? Who you face there.
When the
Group
world,
F, don't care, right? He'll get it done in Group F. Got no problem with that.
But
right?
when
And
the
if he
world,
doesn't, then
when the world, Breton, is watching, more people will be tuning in to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals, than in the group stage. And when the world is watching, Cristiano Ronaldo tends to deliver. I'm gonna go for the side that Cristiano Ronaldo will deliver, because I believe we're gonna see history in this European competition, and he's gonna win the second Euros. Come on, Cristiano Ronaldo. And the statement of Mourinho, I completely agree with what he said. Mourinho said for Euro 2024, if Portugal had two national teams, the second team would also be a contender. This is facts from the special one, José Mourinho, and Cristiano Ronaldo, Gonçalo Ramos, Rafael Leão, Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, Palhinha, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva. Everyone can score goals and can make the difference in moments, situations of one-on-one. So Portugal finishes first in my predictions of Group F. No surprise. Second, I think Turkey. With the young core that we're going to talk more. Georgia, going to put fourth, and Czech Republic third.
Wow. Okay. You did it out of order there. I was like, oh,
I did it out of order, yes. But Kvaratskhelia, if he's getting a big move, could be after a big Euro.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is my one big pick here. We're going to see what's going to happen. Listen, Georgia only got through due to the Nations League, right?
Yes.
But they beat, I believe it was Greece on penalties to get through. They've got, as I've said before, with Albania previous to them, they've got nothing to lose with this. Georgia is coached by Willy Sagnol, if I'm not mistaken, right? Former Bayern Munich, former France national team player, I believe, and this is their first ever Euros. I think it wasn't Albania's first. I got that wrong earlier. This is Georgia's first, but they're dangerous in attack. Kvaratskhelia, you've got George Makatadze, I can't say his last name, but played for Metz, scored a bunch of goals in Ligue 1.
Really?
And yeah, they've got Kashia in the back, the 36-year-old center back that's done it all. But like, I'm going to throw it out there based on the fact that Turkey sometimes underperforms and they're kind of trying to get their feet in front of them. I'm going to have Georgia in third with a potential berth into the round of 16, though I don't think it'll happen. I have Czech Republic finishing second. I've got Turkey finishing a very close fourth because I don't yet see it on paper. Although Hakan Çalhanoğlu was one of the best in Serie A last season, and you could do a whole lot worse than having him be the guy. They're going to go the way of Hakan Çalhanoğlu. But you look at the rest of their squad, and it's a bunch of guys, really phenomenal talents, a wonderful collection of wonder kids that we need to see kind of gel and come together.
I'm going to trust them.
And get it done for
I'm going to trust Kenan Yildiz, Arda Güler, Orkun Kokşu, Semay Kılıçsoy. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to put them second. That's a bold prediction, mate. Bold.
I'm sorry, man.
I was not expecting that. So, yeah.
Well, listen.
Yes.
Czech Republic, they play very well as a collective. And you may recall that 3 years ago, Cristiano Ronaldo, and it was Patrick Schick that was co-Golden Boot leader with Cristiano Ronaldo, scored one phenomenal golazo in that particular tournament. But there's also, you've got the Leverkusen connection. You've got the West Ham connection. I mean, but you've got Schick and Hlozek, I think, will have big tournaments for them. And yeah, Kufal, Suchek. It's a decent squad for Group F, right? It's a decent squad for Group F.
Not expecting
but Georgia, why the hell not, right? I'm gonna go with it. Georgia, they might not get through, but I think they're gonna push Turkey into the bottom of Group F, and I am fully prepared to eat as much crow as possible on this, Alex, because you're right. I want to see Kenan Yildiz kill it. I want to see Semay Kılıçsoy kill it. I want to see Arda Güler kill it. I don't want this to be the second coming of Emre Mor. I don't think it's going to be, but I would like to see them. I just think it's a little too early. That's it. too early for that.
Could make sense in the long run when we look back. Let us know, do you agree or disagree with our predictions of Euro 2024, Group F specifically in this case? Let us know what you're thinking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell us. Best player in the tournament, golden boots. Let us know in the comment section and we will answer your comments. And don't forget to like this video until now. So, U.S. men's national team, 5-1 loss to Colombia. The biggest loss with Gregg Berhalter. It once again confirms what we stated in past weeks. Gregg Berhalter should not be the manager in Copa America, and he definitely should not be the manager for 2026 World Cup. When you see so many strives being done in U.S. soil with Messi playing in the the MLS, and this is what happens to the national team that is one of the best national teams I've seen of the U.S. They gotta do better, and doing better is with better coaching staff. Gregg Berhalter cannot stay. I agree with Claudio Reyna that should be the case. But no surprise to lose to Colombia.
No, but it's this is not the 1994 World Cup. Ernie Stewart 2-1. Obviously, Andres Escobar with the own goal. This was beyond humbling. What I hate about this whole process is it's the same guy now. This is like the first loss that he has come out and he's said, "Oh, completely unacceptable." It's like you're playing negative ball most of the time, right? It's not attractive ball. It's boring. And people say the same thing about Gareth Southgate. I just don't enjoy watching Gareth Southgate ball. And it's the same here with Berhalter. It feels like they're just constrained in their expression. And yeah, you look at some of the analytics, Alex, and the XG was only 2.2 to 1. But the defensive frailty that we've shown, the negative goalkeeping, the terrible goalkeeping that is we now have a goalkeeping problem. Absolutely. Right? And it's like, it's that meme where you got the person, you got the dog sitting amidst the fire saying, "This is fine," right? That's what this feels like. It's not fine. It's not. Yes, I'm glad that this was now and not in the opener against, say, a Bolivia. But you're telling me, Gregg Berhalter, that you want to change everybody's perception of American soccer, American football, right? You want to tell me that you want us to join the upper echelon of this international football to where you can compete on a regular basis with a very good Colombia team. This Colombian team has not lost in 22 games now. Okay? But you're telling me that. And then you play that type of football, right? And then you simply act like that meme and say, "Yeah, this is fine. This is fine." It's bullcrap. It's completely. He's not the right guy the second time around, and I don't want to wait until the end of the Copa America to find this out. And I really think we need to move on, and they're not going to do it. And that's the hardest part of this. So if we have success in Copa America, right, it will be, once again saying it, in spite of Gregg Berhalter, not because of it. And it's not just us. This is a CONCACAF thing. Mexico wants to think that they can go toe-to-toe with a Netherlands or with a Colombia or with a Brazil or with a Argentina. And yeah, I'll give them a little bit of a shout-out for their fight against Brazil the other day. I only hope we can follow suit. But they got trounced by Uruguay 4-zip the game before that. Canada got trounced by the Netherlands 4-zip. CONCACAF is nothing until we accept that these teams are the reality. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we need to continue. You can't hide. Tim Ream can't make a mistake like he did. Chris Richards can't make a mistake like he did. Johnny can't make a mistake like he did in those types of environments. And where is that precision? I feel like I'm rambling.
No, and to give context to people, CONCACAF teams in these past few weeks, Mexico lost 4-0 to Uruguay, which they're going to play U.S. men's national team. U.S. lost 5-1 to a team unbeaten 22 games with Colombia. And the Netherlands beat 4-0 the Canadian team of Jesse Marsh. That I believe Jesse Marsh would be a better manager than Gregg Berhalter for the U.S. men's national team. But these results are unacceptable for the talent that is on their teams. Okay, so I completely agree with you. Reality check.
No, But it just goes to show you that there is the changing. His stated goal, Gregg Berhalter's stated goal, is that he wants to change the perception of American football, American soccer, right, in the world stage. It's the club guys. It's those guys that are currently doing that. It's those guys,
not the
right?
manager.
Christian Pulisic going into Syria. Exactly. They're doing it individually. Collectively right now, what I feel he's doing is he's holding them back.
I agree.
100% is holding them back. I would rather go down 5-1, at least creating more than whatever, a few half chances here and there.
With a philosophy.
Than what the way we played like.
With a building a new philosophy, building a style of play that you cannot build in weeks. It's something that's a work of months. And that's what I mean. Like when the U.S. men's national team looks at the deadline of the World Cup, it's very alarming to see that the manager will be working 2 years if it's not Gregg Berhalter. Right. Whoever it is, they got to sack him after Copa America to give more time to this person that respectively will need it to build dynamics, a lot of things.
Preferably before, Alex. Preferably before
Copa America. No. Then it would go back to the cycle of it's the people at the top that they're at fault, and it's not Gregg Berhalter.
I know, but he has only beaten Mexico, right? There is no notch in the belt win against any of these guys. I mean, I'm not going to go back and relive the days of Jurgen Klinsmann getting us wins against whatever the Netherlands, and because he didn't do it when it counted, right? But for Gregg Berhalter to say that there's been any real progress here, where? Show me.
Individually,
put it out there.
Individually,
tell me.
Individually, yes.
Right, well, he's had nothing to do with that.
No. Like tactically,
right?
No.
And I think it's almost a negative that he's buddy with some of these players here, because we are entering, Alex, into one of the most consequential periods of potential development in U.S. soccer history, right? You have the World Cup coming up. You've got this ridiculously amazing Copa America tournament that's about to take place, West Coast to East Coast. You're going to have Messi on the soil. You're going to, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And yet the gap has not felt wider.
Exactly.
Wider between CONCACAF teams and CONMEBOL teams, South American teams, than I've seen in a while. And yes, recency is in effect. And
it's not the best Brazil team ever. And it's not the best
Uruguay.
It's not. Uruguay is a good team, but it's not the best. And the gap is bigger.
I agree. It doesn't feel good. Exactly. And if you were looking for any type of progress that's there, the only progress you can see is in the individual player pool.
True.
But when it comes down to who's leading the way and how U.S. soccer has said, well, he didn't do it the first time, we are going to let his contract expire. And then we're going to hire somebody, Alex, to put on this exhaustive search to go find another manager. Oh, wait. No, yeah, all our metrics are saying let's hire Gregg Berhalter again.
That's mad.
Right? And to give him another swing in one of the most consequential periods of U.S. soccer development history, right? Amidst a transformational change that MLS is ongoing, you can't make the argument that it was MLS players that made this team, have a bad game. Jedi Robinson, not good, right? I mean, the only one that you can look at, well, you know what? I'm not going to pick on the individual players.
I don't think
it's the guy leading. No, it's the guy leading the show, and it doesn't. If there's a plan,
look, if there's
he has not
player,
been able to illustrate it to anybody.
If there's a player, it's Matt Turner, because Matt Turner at club level hasn't showed what is needed to be the U.S. men's national team goalkeeper. When in the past you had a player like Howard, that would be an idol, an icon for the U.S. men's national team to the world. So Gaga Slamina. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you had Tim Howard, you had Casey Keller, you had Brad Friedel. Those three obviously made it abroad. You never felt like there was a goalkeeping void at any point. In fact, some of the best games in our history, right, going toe-to-toe with people much better than us. USA, Belgium, right? Timmy Howard was out of his mind, right? You had Casey Keller standing on edge against Brazil back in the day. I think that was a friendly, but well, what a win, right? Made like 14 or 15 saves in that game. And now you're looking at Matt Turner, and nothing against them individually, they're all great people, but Matt Turner getting bad counseling to go to Arsenal, where he was never going to start. Zach Steffen literally disappearing.
True.
Disappearing. Nobody knows. Yeah, I get it. He's back in MLS with Colorado, but he's not even one of the best MLS goalkeepers. You've got Ethan Horvath, who is okay for Cardiff City. And then you bring Sean Johnson again, and you're not giving any of these young guys a chance. Goalkeeping was one of the best exports that the U.S. had.
Exactly.
And no longer, sir. No longer. So, in my opinion, he has stepped back
in
almost every metric.
Because goalkeepers now have to use their feet.
That's true. No, you're right. 100%.
So it's like everything changed. It's like, what? No. Like, no, how are we going to coach this now? It's like things changed massively. And who took the best out of it? The people that have the best preparation in the world in terms of training processes, methods. The German.
Yeah.
The German with Manuel Neuer being the breakthrough and the icon of that change. But yes,
true.
Very interesting talk. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what we just said with the U.S. men's national team? Who would be your coach? And let us know in next topics. Can Brazil win Copa America? We're going to be touching this topic and many others. Let us know in the comment section topics that you want to see here at FC Wonderkid. If you're listening until now, thank you so much for listening to episode 160. Make sure you like this video to show your support. And look, people, trust the process. Big things are coming. Just like Portugal winning Euro 2024. I'm joking. I'm reaching.
Hey, you never know.
But yes, thank you
for
listening to episode 160. And thank you for going bold with us.